do it. All right, my dudes. Man, it's been a minute since I've gotten this thing set up.
We're live right now?
Yeah, we're hot. It's cooking. We are live right now. So it should be on YouTube. And what I usually do is I run about I don't know, it's like 20-second delay or something on chat. That way I can kind of see if somebody asks a question, like it's delayed to where I can like respond to it, and then, you know, it'll catch up. But we see it all in real time from them. It's just the delay on the thing. 2 OGs in the house, ML says. My dudes, we're going to let a few folks get in here. We can just talk some basics of, you know, who we are. If you guys haven't seen BitsBeTrippin before, welcome. TheCoinDad's here with us, runs the Bitcoin Mining Museum. And I'll just roll right into it, and then we can get into all the fun stuff.
Well, I'm glad I'm here. I made it. You done been over my place before, and I said I'm going to come to your place someday, and here I am. I kept my word. Yesterday, I interviewed an OG on the other side of town, and got some cool information from back in the day, and you'll get to meet him tomorrow. And now here I am with you, and that's part of what I do with the Bitcoin Museum is I don't just collect miners, I collect OGs.
Yeah. Well, it's fun to listen. I mean, there's a ton of folks in this space that have been mining Bitcoin for a long time.
Yeah.
And they don't have YouTube channels. They're not super public about it. I mean, now, especially with security and all that kind of risk too, of like just you're an OG and you've been in it for a minute and now you're kind of just retired or living or whatever, you know, maybe you don't want to tell or talk about your story, but sometimes it is nice to be able to, even if they don't want to get on camera or something, to have the anecdotal stories of like how they got there. And, you know,
some of these OG meetings I have are anonymous. And that's the reason why I have to jump on a plane and go physically. They don't even want to talk, you know, over the phone or whatever. But some people ask me, like, isn't it too early to make a museum? And I was like, well, when you want me to interview people when they're all dead?
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
I got to collect information. There's a lot of stuff you can't Google online. I have to collect information directly from you guys.
Yeah. I mean, we're approaching 16 years, and like it's been a long time. So I mean, since the launch of Bitcoin's network, and like mining's been there since the beginning. It started with CPUs, you know, went on to GPUs and then FPGAs, and like there's not a lot known about that side of the work. And like even with our channel being from 2013, where it was right as GPUs were really by 2013, they were really out of Bitcoin mining. There were still people using GPUs, since pools came around, and you could still earn some incremental Bitcoin. It made no sense at the time. By the way, it would have. Like in 2013, looking at the hash rate, even working at a GPU, and we'll talk about some GPUs later, mining, it's a fun little exercise to look back at what the network difficulty was and what the hash rate was, and then what a GPU would do compared to an ASIC.
Yeah.
It would have made still incremental, but it still would have been more profitable per day per Bitcoin right now. Like it would have been very crazy. And we have some models out there we've built over the years that allow you to look at what if. Like there's a scenario tool that I had built a long time ago. It goes all the way back to what the Bitcoin network was showing difficulty. And then we can reverse into, like, based on that difficulty, based on the hash rate of these types of devices, what would have been the yield, because we can look at the history of it, right? So it's interesting seeing when you look at some of those tools that we've had in channels and videos, being able to look at the what ifs and that kind of thing. But like, there wasn't a ton. I mean, back in those early days of Bitcoin mining, especially on the GPU side, essentially it was just an online wiki SharePoint, or kind of like a SharePoint kind of setup, where there was just a linear list of configs of like, use these configs with this miner in Linux, and this is what your output should be, and it was in the mega hash, to give anybody an idea, like 2-3 mega hash.
Just a little fun fact, like in my museum, I have those little USB sticks from back in the day.
Yeah.
And you need roughly 600,000 of them to equal today's S21 machine.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Of one miner.
And I mean, just the GPU, those little USBs do gigahash these days. Like they were doing, the bit axes and stuff. Yeah. Or those do terahash, but like the older USBs.
You mean, okay.
Like when the USBs finally came around after the jalapenos and stuff.
2014
era. The 2014 ones were like 10 times what a single GPU could do. Even then, even that small of a form factor with like, 5 watts of electricity, like just how much more efficient like the SHA-256 algorithm on those types of components. It was just interesting to see over the time of growth there, but
it was super tiny. I think I haven't announced this yet because I'm still cleaning it, but I have a CPU in my museum now that mined roughly summer 2010, and the mega hash I think was only between 4 to 6 mega hash. And the global network at the time was maybe 100 mega hash. So this is like one of the first 25, 30 CPUs in the world to mine. And when I interviewed the OG that mined with it, I asked him like, why did you mine? How did you find out? And he was like, I was using PayPal to pay for weapons on World of Warcraft. And PayPal in the UK gave him issues. And then he found out that in Asia, other gamers are accepting Bitcoin. So he started mining Bitcoin on it. He went to Newegg, and he had a whole list of stuff to build his PC, showed me the list with the dates on it, and built the PC and was mining 10 blocks a day on average, which is times 50 Bitcoin per block. So 500 freaking Bitcoin a day on the CPU just to go buy some freaking weapon on World of Warcraft. Because it wasn't even worth a penny at the time.
Yeah. And I mean, it just gives you like the use cases. Like when I always talk to folks, and they're like, I don't get it. I understand like the government, everybody's getting into Bitcoin now. There's financial institutions, but it's a fundamental, like, okay, I hear all that, but start at the beginning. Like why, and what do I care about? And I mean, not to use that one World of Warcraft example, but at the end of the day, it is a decentralized network with fair market participation. And then you have counterparties that will take it on the other side. And it's like, well, this is way more seamless, and you don't have to go through all these bank and intermediaries, and you can just use Bitcoin. So, I mean, there's always a use case for that, and it has been since the beginning. That's what attracted me to it early, is like, hey, there is counterparties that will accept this, and my computer can just work on this thing, and I can earn these tokens, and I can somehow get other value out of that. Sure, like set me up. I have multiple computers. Let's go ahead and do this. So, that's what really started me down the path early with Bitcoin, and I found it myself. I mean, everybody has their like origin story. I found it because I used to do SETI at home and folding at home. I would, just my nighttime computer work would be assigning to those networks essentially, and doing that work. And for that, you were on a message board, or you would show like your progress of what you contributed. And and I had multiple computers in the basement, and that's just kind of nerd stuff I like to do, and saw it on those forums of people like, hey, there's this thing called Bitcoin. You earn these tokens. It's this decentralized network. And that's where I first learned it from. And then seeing Andreas Antonopoulos start talking about it. He first started talking about Bitcoin, going to different conferences in 11, and just seeing, that kept my exposure into it. It was just like kind of quasi hobby, let them run, let my GPUs run at night, run the network. And then, eventually Litecoin came out, and Dogecoin, and all these other things that you could use GPUs for, which I continue to do. But like, from a proof of work standpoint, but just seeing the evolution of proof of work in general, I don't know.
One thing
We're still doing it, my dudes.
One thing I love about meeting OGs and talking to you guys about the past is how each one of you has your own story of how you found out about Bitcoin and how you got into it. And there's one that told me that he was typing in 3 letters. It was supposed to have been GTC or something like that, and he fat fingered BTC. And Bitcoin came up, and he's like, "What the hell is this?" And now he's full-time Bitcoin because of a fat finger. Yeah, And then I got a brain fart. There was another. Dang, never mind.
Oh yeah, there's a lot to cover. What I was going to do is I was going to make a post real quick here, guys. On this is an old email. I'm just gonna, before I don't get spammed with spam, I'm just locking my.
That's dope that you keep records of your stuff too. All the videos and emails.
Well, I mean, a lot of it. So like, and I've said this many times publicly, I used to record like a lot of the stuff that I do. If it was computer builds or whatever, I would just do it as a hobby, right? Part of it was also like, I was really into cars, or, I was doing autocross and all this other stuff. And I didn't really know how to tinker on cars. I didn't know how to do these things. So I used to use these cameras to like record what I was doing. So then I could go back and see, okay, did I take this bolt off, or did I take this thing off? Well, that transposed into doing it sometimes with a computer, as I was learning on how to like build computers and do other stuff. Computer's pretty straightforward once you built a few of them, but like I would record it. So indirectly I was like, I'm going to do some measurement analysis. And one of the videos that we'll post a link to on this stream is a few videos that I have on like an older YouTube account that was me just testing out Bitcoin mining on one of the GPUs that the original GPU that I tested it with. That we're going to be donating to the Bitcoin Mining Museum. My first
You're
GPU.
Talking about it, got to hold it up now because people are going to be curious to see what it looks like.
So in late
It's one of the
December
reasons why I jumped on the
2010.
airplane, folks, and came over here.
Yeah, late December of 2010 is when this GPU came out, and what inspired me to even test with it was because like anytime you get a new GPU, the first thing you do is start running it through its cycles. And, you know, the 6000 series, which came out in the end of December, the mid-December of 2010, is when I started trying it with this new GPU. At the time, state of the art, was the best GPU out there at the time. And then, but I still had a lot of other PCs. So I had 5770s, 5750s, different GPUs that I had videos on doing stuff. But this was the driver that got me to first test it.
We're going to have to get a gold marker and you sign it for me.
Yeah, for sure.
This is officially the first GPU in the Bitcoin Mining Museum.
That I tested. Oh, nice.
So I don't have a GPU yet.
Oh,
so now I got CPU.
We need to find somebody. So I'm not obviously I'm not the oldest person that ever did GPU mining because I did it started in December of 10. There's speculation that there was people doing it as early as June, July. I know officially, at least the things that are posted is from October of 2010 is when it really started to proliferate. But if you look at the hash rate on Bitcoin right there around that June, July, either a crap ton of CPUs came online or people started figuring out how to do it through GPUs. Because that's the one thing is Bitcoin always tells what it is. If you see a jump, and this is really proof of work in general. I mean, some of the other networks, you can see when there's something that happens. If it's an FPGA or if an ASIC comes online, the network grows exponentially and blocks start getting solved really fast. And you're like, what the hell? Like, did just everybody one night find a video and start downloading? Or did somebody write some software for a piece of hardware and now they're able to do something else with it?
That's the beautiful part about innovation.
But yeah, so I mean, there's definitely people out there, and it would be great to find maybe somebody finds or shares this video with another Bitcoin OG of somebody that can show their stuff from like July, June time of 2010, and like the potentially one of the first GPUs ever to mine Bitcoin would be really cool too.
That would be dope.
Like if they still have them. I mean, that's not everybody holds their stuff, like. I don't like getting rid of stuff. I don't sell a lot of Todd's in the background here, have a lot of our original GPUs. Like we kept them. And it's just one of those things that I don't know. I just loved seeing like the progress. And then just as things would come out, I would test things with these old GPUs. So like, I just kept them.
You still do that to this day with the ASICs?
Yeah, with the ASIC. Yeah, I'm still doing it with the ASICs. I mean, I do miss my GPU mining days. I really do. I think it's the best, in my opinion. I mean, CPUs, I get it with like XMR and some other problems with CPUs. You can get botnets and stuff that can deploy to other CPU types. So it's kind of a disincentive on the CPU side. But the GPU side is like anybody in the world can participate. And the barrier entry, I mean, these days GPUs are super expensive, but like at that time, you get a GPU for $300 and you could participate. So I could have a video explaining on how things are working, and people would get lost on the internet, find that video, and like send me a message saying, "Hey man, I started downloading this thing. I'm mining, with you." And I don't know, there's just something organic and easy about adopting people to a network that way, because then they can participate and see the output. But like, yeah, I mean, the early days in those days were, when you step back there and think about Bitcoin at the time, it was a novel idea. I didn't really grasp the concept of like the massive financial network implementation that could occur from all the other work that would occur, like layer 2 and all that other stuff. Like I didn't see that vision, but it was more of just participating in this thing and getting tokens, right? And then those tokens happen to be worth trading.
Did you run nodes back then too?
I did not run nodes. I didn't start to run a node, honestly, until 2014. We did a video back in the day in 14 on how to set one up and do it. So it took me even into the channel, 2013, having it for a year, to then people ask me like, "Hey, why aren't you running a node?" That's the real true, blockchain in relation to the history and all that. You know, mining is just the competition of being able to write the next block, right? Yeah. So it's like I didn't really embrace that side of the house until about 2014, and we showed people on how to build a node. Then you know, on our YouTube channel, we have almost 650 plus videos, probably 200 plus live streams.
I want to say congratulations on, yeah, that's to me an accomplishment. You're the first YouTube channel in the history of Bitcoin for mining.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's, ChatGPT will sit there. Like, I went out there and looked, and that's why I made the channel. Like I looked for other content that was mining related, and all the mining related channels. There was no mining related channels at the time. There was anecdotally, there was a person that would share maybe something related to mining. There's a few old school videos of like Charlie Shrim back in the day when they first started getting some of the stuff talking about mining, but there was nothing dedicated on like configuration and all how to set up things and testing and any of that. And that's what inspired me to make BitsBeTrippin. Is like, it was a funny name, right? Like, it was like, but it was, you know, connected in such a way to the naming convention all means something, right? You know, if you don't pay, like even in the jingle that we have, you know, machines pushed to the limit, that's day and night. Bit, Light, Feathercoin, new way of life. Because at the time it was Feathercoin and Litecoin were the other two.
I remember those, like top 10 coins back then.
You know, killer hash, making a bit at a time. Set me up, let me get mine. In the morning, what is it? Oh my God, I forgot my own jingle. I can't even believe I'm wrapping this off right now. I actually have it. In the morning, oh my God, dude, I'm gonna look it up. I should know this, but it's literally been
probably when you get older in the space.
8 years since I last recited our jingle. So it's actually pretty embarrassing. So it's BitsBeTrippin. Let's see here. Rap. I think if you Google BitsBeTrippin rap, it brings you to it. It does.
Breaking news. We're about to hit 121,000 while we're on live.
Let's go. We're pushing back up. Well, I think a lot of that's due to they just
the Genius Act and
the
Clarity Act. I think both of them passed.
Just got passed.
I think on one side they were expecting only 30 votes and got like 70 or 80 on the opposition.
Yeah. I got it, my dudes. I got it. Here's some bars. Machines pushed to the limit, that's day and night. Bit, Light, Feathercoin, new way of life. Killer hash, getting paid a bit at a time. Okay. I want to mine. Set me up and let me get mine. Making money when I sleep, that's a good night. When I wake up in the morning, I'm seller flipping. 100% they need all my attention. If I don't give them that, the bits be tripping.
That's dope.
So that set the tone.
That was December 6, 2013.
Yeah, December 6, 2013. We came up with that. And that's where the name came from, because we didn't know really what to call it. Because I was like, is it, Bitcoin, whatever? And like, it was, you had Bitcoin, you had some emergent of these other tokens. It was all proof of work. There was no real, there were some basic concepts of color coins and layer 2 concepts. XRP was kind of being, at the time, Jeb, that owned that space, was forming the concepts of what XRP would be. There was dark coin. There was a couple other things that were coming out, and it was just like this, like almost primordial swoop of what could this thing become, because people were taking and forking, Bitcoin, because convincing Bitcoin to change anything, right? Which has been its mainstay of strength, I would say, is not making core changes to the actual original code. Like other people just fork it. If you want to make a change, fork, and then you may have folks that will follow you in that and contribute, and you have Solana and all these other things that have emerged from the core concepts of the the networks. We can all go probably a whole other podcast and display why those are probably bad ideas on certain things when it comes to the finance side of it. Just because you have a single point of failures, you have one company owning all the all that stuff, and various prisoner dilemmas and all kinds of things of what could happen with the other spaces. But like at the time when we were looking at what do we name this, and it was like early days in mining, and even now, like we deal with this every day. Early days in mining was hard. Like it didn't work all the time. GPUs would crash, drivers would crash, all this stuff would happen, and it was like, if I don't give them my attention, they'll be tripping. Like it was just always a struggle. And anybody that is familiar with GPU mining knows this concept, this space, like where it's not easy. You
I
know?
think December 2013 and prior is the pioneer era. That's the Wild West, because everything that I've studied up and interviewed with you guys, with OGs, that's that era. Like, I think the point that the pioneer era broke away was when Bitmain, they came out with the S1, but then when they got to the S3, that was the first full production of batches coming out in mass. Yeah. And I think that was the point where he broke away from pioneering. But prior to that, it was the pioneer era of the Wild West. You had Butterfly Labs, you had KNC, you know, you got Hashfast, you got Cointerra, you got names that people out there have never heard of to this day, unless you're from that era.
Yeah. I'm going to make a post. So a Thursday throwback. I'm throwing this on Twitter right now, guys. Thursday throwback. You know your OG win. I'll tag Brains because they own it now. The original email. Check the Twitter post, guys. I just I'm gonna tag you two at TheCoinDad. Here you go. And then let's do the mining museum too.
BTC.
Oh yeah, it's
Mining Museum.
I wonder what I was going for BMM for.
There it is right there.
Yeah, there we go.
No, that one. They wouldn't let me fit the whole name in there. It wasn't too long.
There you go. You guys can see an old
Shout
Thursday
out
through.
Hobbyist. What's up, Hobbyist? I see you.
Yeah, we got DJ Mines on here too. Latrell. I see some old names on here I haven't seen in a minute. Yeah, we got 119 right now, viewers right now on the stream.
Nice. That's what's up.
And yeah, so I mean, I was showing just I don't share a ton of anything pre 2013, and part of the you hit the button.
Oh crap!
We're going up.
I thought I was going down.
We're I mean, perspectives, you know, like, oh, am I sinking? You know, I had this concept of like everything before BitsBeTrippin in my capture of data, recording, sign up, emails, whatever, was like maybe one day when things get a little more proliferated, or you know, this becomes part of the fabric of society and stuff, then that time, if there is, you know, a documentary or something that will get more exposure to that information. Mining Museum, it's a perfect example, and we'll talk about this in a bit.
Okay.
Of what's going on with, you know, just bringing people up to speed on some of the history. Then at that point, I would contribute that stuff, you know, of showing, you know, hey, you know, here is an early look at the 2010, 2011 era of content that I've captured and saved from that time. You know?
I'm glad you had that mind frame to even think about that, because there are OGs that were just like recycling center, throw it away, next. You know, they didn't keep anything, or they're moved 3-4 times since then and lost it along the way.
Yeah. Just
So
from the hardware and the...
Yeah. So that's why things are more and more difficult for me to find, especially now that I have over 130 different models in my museum from the early days till now. It's getting harder and harder and harder, because I already got prototypes of some stuff. I got one of ones. I got the first Avalon 1 miner to ever come out in both colors.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm getting to that point now where it's like, if somebody comes up and says, hey, I see that you don't have this, I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah, you're like, well, that was nice that exists, and I didn't know that exists. Yeah, there were so many. It showed you the diversity of where, I mean, it's like almost like a chip design and any tweaks in said chip design and fabrication, you know, nanometer, because that's an important factor too.
Which started at 130, by the way.
130 nanometers. Think about that now. Now we're at 3.
130 nanometer with ASIC miner, and then 110 with Avalon 1, and now we're at 3.
Now we're at 3 nanometer, dude.
While the banks and the branches still look the same.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the tip of the spear of the tech stack right now. And yeah, it's just like it was the ingenuity that came out of the different designs, thermal designs. And we're starting to see a resurgence of this in the, like the bit axes of the world, and that those kind of singular, chip or 4-chip design things, where it gets back the hobbyist back into it, right? To where, hobby people can have 15 watts going onto their desk, and it's mining Bitcoin, and they have little screens on them and stuff. And you're starting to see, 3-nanometer chips and those kind of designs, just really this participation and seeing, these folks win blocks. I love seeing, like, every once in a while.
I think we hit 7 already this year so far.
Yeah,
that's pretty dope.
And the BitX realm, and it's just, again, mining is a lottery, and it is, fair market participation, right? And then there's been instances of interesting, shadow mining, or people that were looking at the risk side, ASIC boost, that came out with Bitmain, and for a long time they were denying it.
17?
Yeah, like 17 time frame.
Yeah.
And was it going to be part of it? And it was just more innovative ways to try to get that answer. Can you distinct down the list of tries because your probability is higher on this angle? And then you just see the amount of people that have entered this space, really, like the people I've talked to or interacted with, like extremely smart, individuals that are like tip of the spear of the tech stack, right? And they chose to pick this career because it's just interesting, and it's an emergent, and there's a lot of, there's just not so much. I mean, we're going to get more regulation, and it's just a matter of time of like how things start to form around the world now that it's becoming core financial service replacements in some aspects. But
like you just touched on that, where the OG that I told you I was meeting yesterday, that's one thing that he mentioned. And this is, I guess, the mind frame of some of them. They're not in it for the money, some of them. They're in it for the tech. They're in it for the thrill of doing something new. And he told me that he's been through a lot of thrills even prior to Bitcoin coming out. And once that thrill is gone because they completed something, then they just leave it and move on to the next thing, because that's just the way they are.
Yeah.
But these are the innovators. These are the ones that make the chip designs from the beginning, or come up with the body of the machine or the software, whatever. So it's special people out there in the space that we have.
And it's sweet to see kind of what they've come up with. And I mean, just now you're getting into all this like 2-phase cooling, and you're getting into like crazy 3-phase designs of, like the power supplies on most of the newer miners. It's all about energy consumption and how much energy can you pack into a chip and be able to get an output on and overclock it and, immerse it or water cool it, and really seeing.
Do you think we're getting into a plateau on that?
I mean, I think the tech stack in general, like the way you mine, the way you mine in general, the way you do SHA-256 is by and large the same way you've always done it. It's just the tech stack has gotten more efficient, and it's gotten, the way it handles, the thermal capacity and energy use, but like it's still all SHA-256. Like at the end of the day, it's just the only thing that's happening is the tech stack is getting more efficient. But like short of ASIC boost, there really hasn't been like a new novel way. I mean, I know there's a concern that folks have related to quantum. I'm not that concerned with it.
There's a BIP out for that now from Jameson Lab.
Like, because they have paths, of how to make it quantum resistant, right? It's always going to be this game. I never say safe on anything, because anything made by humans in general is most likely in some capacity potentially fallible in some way, or there's some asymmetrical way to change the game on it. Even if you had, this perfect solution, that's perfect solutions in its common space. But then if somebody can get to it in a different way, like you see that a lot with software and things that are sitting on hardware. If the bottom layer is the hardware, then you could probably exploit it in some way. Yeah. If the bottom layer to the hardware is now the electricity, and there's ways to create EMF interference and jump over all your security because you're going to go over the hardware and just get right into the lane itself. And there's asymmetrical ways to think about things and that's why you see like certain aspects on security around like caging things and protecting EMF and all that, the electronic interference,
even from the sun with the blast.
I mean, there's so much things related to that, like just seeing the always constant move of the tech stack, as long as people are engaged and innovative, like I think it's just like that keeps ahead of it, right? And it's the disincentive is pretty high for anybody to do, shadow mining or anything. They're putting a lot of risk, of trying to create a longer chain type of issue, because if you did somehow try to use quantum or something to do quick proofing on blocks and figure out the answer to the blocks and be able to expedite the time, to solve.
Well, prior to that, even getting to that point, though, I think the focus would be more on people's personal bank accounts than the blockchain, because that's easier.
Yeah. Well, and it's a honeypot, right? So like, or going after something with Satoshi wallet or something to that effect. But, it is one of those things that there's so much fabric of other aspects, because until everybody accepts Bitcoin, if you have to convert it, then you have to create some kind of attribution to it. So you're tying. It's kind of like the old. I use the adage for folks like you ever watch Breaking Bad, and it's like he's laying on the stack of cash inside the storage unit. It's like it doesn't, like, you could get access to that wallet, but you're never going to be able to spend it, because like if you were able to crack those kind of keys, you're going to try to spend it, and then now you're going to get caught. So it's like there is a built-in mechanism innately just by, on the protection of taking people's stuff, So, and there is a forensic aspect to Bitcoin. And I think all of those aspects really drove me to this space, because I'm not say it's the most perfect solution, but it is something that people can quickly align around. And I think that's why we have such a good community from it. People start to realize, like, wait a minute, this is pretty solid. And like, what gives it value? What gives it, this right? I mean, I don't have to try to convince anybody. I can go to an exchange and see what the value is. Like other people see the value and they're exchanging at that. That's the exchange rate, man. I didn't make the rules up. I live within it. It's just like, I'm never going to push like anything that we do in our channel and stuff as trying to convince you of anything. I'm just taking you through our journey, right? It's like, that was the whole point of like the channel and trying to interact with people in this space too, is just, take people through our journey.
You're a part of the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
That's why there's all these people online watching right now. Yeah. This is all a part of the rabbit hole.
Yeah. Welcome to the rabbit hole, my dudes.
And did I get a new podcast name here?
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. I miss doing this. I haven't done a live stream in a minute, and we've been building. We've been super busy with getting, machines out the door and, helping people. There he is. That's the original BBT camera.
He's giving this to the museum too. This is the first recorder that recorded videos for the first Bitcoin mining channel on YouTube. That's pretty dope.
Yep.
And now we have this inside of our cell phones times 100.
Oh yeah. That's 10. I think that was that when that came out, it was 1080p. It was like the best, and like everything was 720. YouTube, everybody's still clicking on YouTube videos from like 360p. Like Vine level stuff, right? So everybody remembers.
You know where
Vine.
This is going in my museum? Right next to the Nokia N900 that mined Bitcoin in December 7th, 2010. Nice. The battery mined Bitcoin because the network was so small. I think it was 0.43 Bitcoin mined on a Nokia and sent to another Nokia, and both Nokias had the whole blockchain on it.
Oh, wow.
That only happened once in history. Then the blockchain difficulty moved up and you couldn't do it no more. But that's crazy, funny. Though.
Yeah, that's there's like crazy stories, like people using different devices, and I mean we see that with a lot of like other proof of work networks that have had some proliferation on the CPU side, where they're hacking like Samsung fridges and mining stuff with it.
I haven't heard that one yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they were doing it with XMR, Monero, but like it was like a botnet that was doing that went out and started hacking all these like appliances, all the IoT appliances, and we're using the CPU to create hash rate towards a pool.
Yeah,
and it was just like, why is my fridge hot? Right? So they're mining.
Back in the day, they actually used to ship out just the hash board.
Yeah,
and the backplate, like with ASIC miner. V1 and V2, they were just the hash board. So you had to go, like people were buying box fans from Walmart and making their own little, cooling system around them. You had to do things on your own. You didn't have like an S9 miner or like today S21, which just
form factors.
Yeah.
Oh, form factors were all over the place.
Yeah,
they had the different like grid seeds, which I mean would do SHA-256. It also did scripting, but like you had some of these different form factors that were just
those were quiet, and like college students used to mine with them.
Yeah. I mean, they were 35 watts, I think, max, and you could overclock them and do it.
Do you remember the R4 from Bitmain, the long one that had the mouse wheel in it for cooling? And
the cooler that was on the front.
Yeah.
It was the
long.
It's like the GPUs that have like the turbo cooler that's built in the side, and it's all vents all the heat out the back.
And you had the Butterfly Monarch that looked like an engine with the radiator in the front with the pipes coming around it.
Yeah, they started thinking about water cooling early. I mean, I remember like it seemed like that's where it needed to go because it was generating a lot of heat, but then you ended up having just more efficient chips in there. They didn't produce as much heat, and you could still keep the cost down. Because anytime you add, and we're seeing this with the current Bitcoin mining fleets moving to like water cooling and two-phase cooling and stuff, it's all sounds great, but like the upkeep, water, all that stuff needs to be calculated. There's a lot more into it involved when you have pump systems and all this other stuff to keep the things cool. So you're adding a little more complexity to your situation, versus just an old container and throwing a miner in there. And we went and looked at a couple N5V2 containers, which don't even have external fans. It's just relying on the miner to keep it cool. And, it's been pretty warm here. So they're, on our sites here, we have to step things down a little during the summer. And just because of the heat, in general, you put them in low power mode. And otherwise, you're just going to cook your miner. You're going to dry out your paste and stuff.
That happened to me once. Yeah. I had to go out with not to me, but I got called out to a site. I'm not going to say names, but I went out to the site with my team, and the job was to consolidate hash boards and bring things back to life and fix stuff and do this whole triage setup on site. Yep. And I came, and within 15 minutes, I looked and I found out that they basically overclocked all the miners in the middle of July and tried to get as much hash rate as they could. And I think it was 90% of the site shut down. And we had to bring the old miners back out of the warehouse.
Oh,
but
man.
That was crazy.
Cooked them.
Yes.
Yeah, it will cook them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got
one thing I learned in the space is don't be greedy. It's the turtle that actually wins the race, not the rabbit.
And we talk with not just we obviously mine, and then we have our joint venture partners that mine and other just clients we take care of and do the maintenance on, and we try to give a full picture of climate, area, filter cleaning, all those things that contribute to the length of the miner run.
Yeah,
right?
No different than the engine in your car. Oil change, filter change. You get longer life.
You got to stay on that just to keep the miner really running. And then over a long period of time, like 20 plus months, 30 months, and we've seen this with the GPU, and we had some really good older videos on the GPU side, Todd and I, of having to actually tear the GPU down, clean off all the paste dries up, and it just stops thermal transferring. You just start having a lot of overheating and stuff. You see this on ASIC miners that have been out for 20, 30 days, in operation, and 20, 30 months in operation, and then you start seeing like thermal increases and stuff, and then you start to realize if you take those, those heat sinks away, and it's just powder.
Yeah,
it's dried up. All of the, any kind of viscosity.
That's where preventive maintenance comes in and blow through at least once or twice a month.
You got to clean it up. You got to put some repasting on or pads, and then get them, rebuilt. And, and some of these newer miners that are using, especially on the 3-phase ones, I mean, they're 12,000 watt on a single miner, right? I mean, it's because it's 3-phase, so it can handle the amps on it. And seeing how those, we're seeing that next round of like, does water cooling and immersion, how long will it last? What's the other ancillary costs that are involved? Because now the miner might be good, but now you have pumps and other things that might go out, as part of this. People are saying my volume's too low. Can you guys hear us?
Mic check.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably just I'm not projecting as much, and I have the whole setup, mic setup down some. Let's see if I can pump that. There, we'll make sure. I just don't want to red spike the stuff.
Well, I got a gift for you, Carter.
Oh,
I can't come all the way over here with nothing in my hand.
yeah, I already
I
already showed him what I was given.
It's not just from me. It's also from a friend of mine who owns Bitcoin trading cards. I think you heard of them from when I've seen you in Miami.
Yep.
But since you're into mining, I don't know if y'all can see this.
Oh yeah.
That's an ultra rare card from the S3 series from the Bitcoin trading cards.
Nice.
It is serialized, and that's proof of work, POW artwork.
Nice.
And then the other mining card is the El Salvador volcano. That's also serialized, ultra rare
Nice.
for Bitcoin mining. And then there's some closed packs for you.
Oh,
And then for your kids.
there we go. We got 3 of them.
Yeah. I know you have a daughter, so I got her Miss Bitcoin. And then Ken for your son and Sound Money.
Nice.
So the cool thing about these is unlike Pokemon, Pokemon keeps printing them just like the US dollar.
See that?
And Bitcoin trading cards does 21 million packs per series every year, so they're limited. They're not going to print more. So technically, all the cards that come out from them are rare compared to everybody else.
Nice.
But shout out to Aladdin out there, and these are special ones that I brought that I'm not giving you.
There you go.
It is $3,000 each for these graded cards. There's a shark and a whale, but I mean you could already see the lighting on the camera right there, the hologram. Yeah. And there's only 21 of these cards in the world, nice. And I pulled these out of the packs. So yeah, just wanted to give a shout out to Aladdin on that and
out of
trading
these packs?
Cards
Or different packs.
Different packs.
Okay, I was like, whoa.
Those are the educational packs.
Okay, got it.
Maybe
holler at your boy Aladdin and be like,
maybe Aladdin will ship you a pack.
Yeah, there we go.
Those are the Series 3. I think they're $50 each.
Oh yeah, well, we'll buy some of them for.
Yeah,
maybe do a channel giveaway on some of them or something. I haven't done one of those in a minute. I think the last things I gave away was GPUs, but
yeah, it's kind of getting like into Pokemon in 1999, but for Bitcoin.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, early first gen,
and it's something that the young kids can get educational on. Because
grab that. What I was gonna give him that.
The
Bitcoin Atoms.
When he said it to me, I didn't really know what he was talking about until he opened them up. But this is going to be added on to the museum as well. In the memorabilia side, I got a little memorabilia side. You guys know what's in there?
We'll see what.
Can anybody tell?
They can see. No, they can. They can see it. It's the. It'll sharpen on the. It's good. It's the boxes. These are model zeros.
DJ wrote. Okay, 21,000 packs. Correct me. Okay.
Yeah, 21,000 packs.
21,000.
So
how many of these are there?
I know that they were limited edition. I don't know what the total is. I know that they don't make them. They don't make this version anymore. These are model zeros.
Model 0.
Yeah, like the first. Like this is the first run.
That's crazy.
Yeah, this was the first run of these. So these are Bitcoin shoes. They say 21 million in them. Adam did it. They did a short run of them. Yeah, and it said we are all Satoshi on the bottom of it.
I never knew that until you just mentioned that. Now I see it.
Yep. And these can go into the museum also.
That'll go right next to my McLaren sneakers that are signed by Adam Back and Michael Saylor and everybody else.
There you go. That can be contribution. So Adam, I hooked you up. I hooked you up as part of Bitcoin history. There you go.
Thank you.
For sure.
Thank you, sir.
There we go.
So,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure people are wondering what's that about behind us.
Yeah, give them an overview.
So, for a while now, I had the idea on my side of the house for the museum. So just to give you guys a little background, it took me about 6 years to build the Bitcoin Mining Museum from over 15 countries from around the world with dozens of different OGs, and I got over 130 something machines now. You can go on bitcoinminingmuseum.com to check it all out in the gallery. But I found myself having a problem when I go to conferences with my trailer and deploy all these. On the last trip, we hit a pothole and the trailer smacked down and the leaf spring broke. and miner fell off the floor inside and broke. And I'm like, that sucks. You know, like these are rare machines. Some of them are irreplaceable because I have one of ones or prototypes or whatnot. That had me thinking, what if I get T-boned? What if some 18-wheeler just smacks through my whole trailer and everything is gone?
It's priceless.
It's priceless.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's time for a home. And initially my idea was called Bit World Center. So I bought the rights for all that stuff and was trying to lift it up and get it going. But I kept getting rejected everywhere I went because I think people maybe think I'm too early with all this or whatnot. But then Professor Aurelian from George Washington University, through actually BitAxe, shout out to Scott. Scott connected Professor Aurelian to me, and we had a video call, and the synergy was right off the bat awesome. And come to find out, their vision is similar to my vision. But they don't have the museum, but then they have a university, and they have access to the status of tax exemption and an endowment fund and lawyers and a private university that can move things along faster than, you know, a public one. So it's like this was just a perfect match made in heaven. So then we teamed up, and over the last few weeks, we came together as a team also with Professor Kelly from New York. And we have now started Bitcoin Academic Center. It's going to be in DC. And the reason why we chose DC, well, the university is in DC, but the perfect reason why I want my museum in DC is not just to educate the future of generations of young kids, but the middle school kids and high school kids from across the country go on field trips to see the White House and the Capitol.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they can come through the Bitcoin Academic Center. And I'm thinking of doing something like a orange pill crash course for 30 minutes. You know, a school bus rolls up, 50 kids come through, and one of my historians, not historians, gives them a walkthrough and educates them on it, and they all get a certificate that they can take home. And that way we're educating kids from across the country from one location. Then the other big thing is the politicians are right there. And a lot of these politicians that still don't understand Bitcoin, they're stuck on the fact that you cannot touch or see Bitcoin. But I'm the only tangible part of the Bitcoin blockchain. When you see a chronological order of 130 machines with 16 years of history, you can't sit there and call that a scam. That's impossible. So politicians, we're talking about doing a course just for them for a couple of days or something, to have them come through, and we take our time to educate our politicians on both sides of the aisle about Bitcoin. So having the Bitcoin Academic Center in DC just makes perfect sense. The timing with the Trump administration right now, and him wanting the Bitcoin capital of the world to be there, it just makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, to your point, there is a lot of traffic through DC. It has a huge amount of history, and to make sure that, you know, not everybody understands for a whole bunch of reasons. Not because they're not trying to understand. Some people are just pushing it away, but then they see the momentum that things start to have, and they're like, you know what? Let me look into this at my own pace. And I've seen that with folks when I've tried to explain stuff, is they have to get to their pace of understanding and wanting it, and what they're actually going to listen and hear. And then let them get to that point, you know. And little things you never know what triggers a person's like aha moment, right? In Bitcoin. I mean, I've explained all kinds of aspects, technically, philosophically, why I'm inspired to do it, why do I continue to do it, all those things to folks. It doesn't necessarily maybe resonate with them. It does for me, but then something is like communicated, and sometimes, and people are like, I understand why people are, you know, into this, or they're wanting to share it and share their stories with Bitcoin. And I don't know, I think this gives a bunch of different versions of like how to do it from the hardware aspect of it. And then as you start to add more of these other things, because then you could get other aspects of this. I mean, Bitcoin, we were talking in the ride over, and it's expanded into so many things. Like, I really keep it very myopic on the foundation of mining, right? That's what we do here. We build out locations. It's very on the ground, boots on the ground, proof of work. But there are entire software development teams building out, you know, inscriptions, or doing you know, layer 2 stuff, you know, software related stuff,
Lightning and all that.
Lightning, all those aspects. There's folks building out, you know, training centers. There's aspects of other tangential financial connections. You know, if you're talking wallet and security management, all of these different facets of jobs that came around because of the ecosystem and interaction with the ecosystem, integrated with, you know, data and AI and optimization of like some of the stuff we're doing, like optimization of miners, doing self-healing, all these kind of innovations that come from this space and contribute to, you know, the greater ecosystem that then could be captured in this. Because it is not so hammer nail singular. Oh, it's just a get rich quick thing. A whole bunch of speculative buyers. Who's going to be left with the bag? All these naysayers in the space understand the scope of the space. Yeah. Right. You know, and it's
just so you know that this is not just going to be a museum. This is going to be like a Bitcoin library. Like we have the digital version in the Nakamoto Institute that we're going to make into a physical library. And then we have an art gallery that we want to do where we support artists from around the world in the Bitcoin space. That's a possible storefront where we would be selling bit axes and Start 9 nodes and 21 FOMO apparel and Bitcoin trading cards and books, you know, from Lawrence Lepard and all these authors that are out there. They have everything just Bitcoin related into the center. And it'd also be a tourist attraction because people come to DC in tourism and Bitcoiners from around the world that want to learn more. Like having this place is just going to be an awesome. I don't want a boring museum either. Like we're going through the initial funding round right now, and like the people that are contributing right now, like shout out to OG Bryce from 2010. He actually donated $500,000 already just yesterday.
Fire, bro.
That is like, man, thank you. I really appreciate you. So like these initial seed founders, contributors, I'm wanting to put the blockchain on the floor of the museum, etched forever, as long as the life of the museum exists, of the people that are donating right now before the official release in September, which will, by the way, be at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. Oh, nice. Michael Saylor, Adam Back, Samsung Mao, Senator Lummis. There's a lot of people attending, so you can go to btcndc.com, which is the conference. That's where we're going to be doing the official release and announcement. So everybody between now and September is naming rights. Name the hall of somebody, big donation from somebody, an exhibit, a gallery, whatever. There's right now we're in the naming rights phase. But yeah, I see this becoming something that's pretty big that's going to be needed even after you and I are gone.
That's the legacy, right?
To learn about us.
It's the legacy. I mean, we're here for very small pieces of time, and what will be in the history books is, I always say it, like or not, love, hate, whatever, it's just contributing to, you know, the information that's there forever. And, you know, it's all going to get embedded into AI. And I mean, if you Google, it's now that they have everything so AI enabled, you know, if you Google anything now, you get even an AI response to things. But just seeing, sometimes I'll look up just historical things that I know, or I'm trying to just get the dates on to be correct on something when I'm trying to remember from the history. And then it's funny when it starts to cite something or somebody I know or us. Like it'll cite, well, BitsBeTrippin said this. I'm like, oh yeah, I did say that. And it's hilarious that it's reminding me of something that happened. Or it'll say something about somebody that's been in the space that, or maybe no longer there, or faded kind of back to the background and just enjoying the fact that Bitcoin's appreciated quite a bit. And they're kind of like, hey, we made it, fam. I'm out. I'm going to enjoy life out of this limelight. But seeing just some of that history and how it's parsed the internet, but now having a singular place that's kind of like preserving, you know, the physical aspects of it too, not just the digital aspects of it, you know. But yeah, what we do is out there forever. And, you know, that's why I was trying to inspire very early a lot of other YouTube channels. I've talked to tons of other YouTube channels. Some of them are actually in our chat here. You know, as they were kind of coming up and trying to find their piece of, you know, this space. And, you know, it's all just about sharing your experience. Like, Like mechanically, we know it's sound and we know it works. It's been working for 16 years. It's obviously getting a massive adoption across the world. It's becoming part of the financial fabric because it is a better system. It's a better way to do things. And now seeing it finally get the recognition. It's like people that have been in it for a long time always knew the foundation. We know the foundation's solid. We know it's good. There's every incentive in the world for the smartest people in the world to try to break it because it's literally a digital printing press. So it's like, how with a very finite, aspect to it. So it's like, it's been resilient, and that resilience has brought the attention and now the awareness to get it now more proliferated with other folks. And, it's a hedge. It's not the end all be all either. Like I always go back to people like, hey, like it's an aspect of society and life. Like, I see a lot of like, especially like really hardcore orange pilled people. Like it's the only thing, like everything else is crap. It's like, there's a lot of innovation in this space, especially with Bitcoin too. Right. And leaning into some of those innovations that help, if it's secondary or tertiary systems, such as like, I think that like Lightning and layer 2 is good from like rapid transactions and use it. Because then again, I'm not going through payment processors.
I used it in El Salvador when I took my wife horseback riding on the beach and went to a restaurant, and the taxis, I just used Lightning everywhere I went.
Correct. And it's just the Strike, some of the stuff that folks are building on Bitcoin, the bottom layer fabric is there. It is a decentralized network by the people for the people type of thing. And then you have these other companies that are making contributions to provide more features and functionality to it that then streamline everything. So then we can go from our base layer Bitcoin that we have in our wallets and then use that as a contributor to pay for things in life and do for things in life, and then just get paid back in Bitcoin. You don't have this economy. And I just, anybody that has to deal with financial services, and I mean, hell, I was just about to pick up another location here and I was going back and forth with the banks and all this stuff. And I'm like, you know what? If you guys just accepted freaking Bitcoin, this would have been done yesterday. Like, but because I have to go through all of this
red
stuff,
tape,
it is not helping, and it's mechanical. It's not even a decision point. It's literally just the mechanics of the way the legacy system works. And I'm like, this is so outdated. When you've been in Bitcoin for so long, you're like, this stuff was replaced in 2009. Like a new thing came out that's way better. So yeah, I mean, it's great for the space.
Sometimes I feel like I'm the future walking through the present, waiting for the past to catch up to me.
Unpack that, my dudes. That seemed like a haiku. I think you just did a haiku.
That's what I felt like walking through a crowd once on the sidewalk.
Like, yeah, you kind of get that. I always akin it to like when they have these kind of, I don't call them out of body experiences, but it's like, everybody's like, oh, some people are like, oh, I've never had anything like that. I'm like, if you've ever almost fell asleep when you're driving and then you snap, your attention snaps and you're like, and your body catches up to the reality that you're driving and you're like, oh crap, I should probably pull over. That feeling is like that kind of out of body. Like I'm now catching back up to where I was at in reality. And yeah, I think there's certain times, sometimes that when you're around a lot of people and stuff like that.
Especially when you walk in the bank and you have to stand in line and you watch somebody pull out a checkbook in front of your face and you just want to throw up in your mouth.
Oh, you're like, oh my God, they're still doing that. We still have to pay for something. There's still some people around here. I mean, we're in the Midwest, so like anybody can Google BitsBeTrippin, but like it's still pretty, laid back, old school in some things, and some people just take checks. I mean, it's, over time though, it's not a if, it's when, right? So like, the eventuality is that stuff will kind of sunset.
I think that fades away with the people when people pass away. Because it's hard to take a 90-year-old man and teach him about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So that's basically all it's going to be, is the generational movement of it.
Or, you got Peter Schiff with like the, which I think at this point now he's just playing.
To be honest with you, I like him.
Yeah. I think
I like him because he sticks to his guns. And I met him and his wife with my wife in Vegas at that whale event. And instead of me asking him, I looked his wife dead in the face and I asked her, does your husband own any Bitcoin? She didn't hesitate. She said, no, he does not. Just whatever the donation was from what people gave to his wallet. That's it. Yeah. So when I seen what she responded with, I was like, "Oh wow, he's actually not lying."
Yeah. I mean,
I don't believe he owns any from my own experience of talking to him.
To his detriment, but
Well, here's the funny part. First time I met him, he was walking past me, and I called out his name, and he was like, "Who are you?" And I introduced myself as the founder of the Bitcoin Museum. You know what his first words were? He said, "That's where everything in Bitcoin belongs."
You know, sometimes you just gotta laugh, like, and folks that have
he's got sense of humor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's obviously benefiting greatly off the exposure of playing the arch side of the villain stack, right? Yeah. So it's just nature in general. Like if you have the counterparty that's always, and I see this a lot with being in, you know, I go to DC a lot, do a lot of consulting work. And when I see people not on camera and stuff, and then like, okay, like it's obviously some of that's a show, some of it's a game to play, both sides of it, you know, like they're not against it. So it's interesting to hear Peter's like staying to his guns, you know, outside the fact and but like he's obviously benefiting greatly with the exposure for his side, just because he's playing that side of it. But yeah, don't hate the game, you know, or don't hate the player, you know, hate the game type of thing, right? But yeah, likes reminder. There you go, Sadie. Thanks, buddy. Like for telling everybody to give us likes, that gets us more exposure to it. And then you know, we got 180 people on right now.
Nice.
Now, you know, it's split between, so I don't know which is which on which side, because I'm simulcasting both to YouTube and to X, I think. I mean, that's what I clicked. It's been a minute, my dudes. We haven't done a live stream in a hot minute, but I mean, we could take some questions too if you guys have any questions. We've been going for about an hour, and right at an hour. We're gonna try to keep this right around that hour and see what you guys think. Yeah, I want to definitely talk to the Aladdin folks on Aladdin on the
Bitcoin trading cards.
Bitcoin trading card, because to see, you know, there's some really good shops that were around here that could probably pull those in.
I can't talk about details, but the next series coming out early 2026, what we're working on is going to be sick.
Nice.
Like, I think I'm one of only top 2 or 3 people in the world that actually own the entire Series 1 that first came out and getting it graded right now. But what's coming out for S4 next year, there's going to be stuff in it that I think will be at the same level of value and scarcity as the S1 or greater than the S1.
Wow.
So it's I really wish I could say what it is, but I can't.
You know what? It's, you know, and everybody loves collectibles. I mean, we do a lot of the Magic the Gathering stuff. Like I have friends we still collect and do and play just because it's a fun pastime experience that we kind of grew up with when, you know, we're out of school. When that first came out, I was in high school. So it's like, it's been with us, and my kids get into it and stuff, play too. So I do appreciate the crossover into the card aspect of it, because it is cool, you know, to see and collect those. And
I mean, you know, Bitcoin doesn't have anything physical, so it's actually kind of fun to have something physical in space to enjoy. Like me and my wife actually every now and then have a date night where we order these packs and they show up. And we'll just make rip videos to post on the Telegram channel.
That's fire.
And just hang out together and figure out which
random chance, my dude. Yeah, that's part of the fun. Part of the card pull is part of the fun, right? It's like new packs. Like
I pulled a Ross Ulbricht and got it signed by him in Vegas. It's the first card in the world to be signed by him. And same thing, I have a rookie card for Michael Saylor, his rookie card from the S2 series. I think. Where'd he go?
Chat streaming. He's got
a brain fart again. I hate getting old. Anyway, the rookie card I got signed I also got signed by Michael Saylor. So it's the first rookie card in the world autographed by him. Yeah, but I think like 10, 20 years from now, just being a part of this stuff in the early times, this is it's kind of like getting into Pokemon in 1999, but for Bitcoin. And better, because Pokemon printed 64 billion cards.
I bet.
Bitcoin trading cards only does 21,000 packs.
Yeah, and what is it, like 15 per card, 15 per pack, 10 per pack?
10 per pack.
Okay. Yeah, 21 million.
But
210,000.
I'm stoked about that right there. I am. Yeah. I'm jumping on planes and we're working to build this thing, make it a reality. I believe in manifestation.
Yeah.
What we're doing right now and talking to you folks out there, this is I'm manifesting this into reality. Professor Aurelian from George Washington University, he got approval from the president of the university to do this. He's obviously taking the lead on all this, but he's manifesting it into reality. Everybody on the team so far that's working together is doing their own thing to try to make this a reality with the connections they have. But one thing I wanted to mention that we chose to do, even though we're in DC and there's opportunities for us to get like grants and loans or dealing with the government, we chose to stay away from it. Just in case power changes hands in the future to a side that doesn't want Bitcoin anymore or doesn't want Bitcoin in DC, they don't have any tentacles attached to us to tell us what to do. So we chose to strictly stick to the Bitcoin community. So it's Bitcoiners running it, and it's going to be funded through the Bitcoin community, through these tax-exempt donations. And we accept stocks, we accept Bitcoin, we accept fiat, and we're even going to be working on doing a tax-exempt mining pool where you can miners from like pubcos and stuff can point some hash for tax-exempt hash towards the Bitcoin Academic Center.
That's awesome.
I think that's going to be a first in the world. When
and it's a contribution. It's giving back if you've been out there in the space for a minute, and helping keep the an endowment to show this history. And
that's the thing we're also wanting to do is that this funding round builds up to a level to where we don't ever have to ask for donations ever again after this, because the endowment fund will make enough profit every year to where those profits will run the entire academic center with all the faculty, the staff, the facility, the AC bills, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. I mean,
and as Bitcoin grows, the endowment grows, and we just have more money to scale. And maybe we start doing, satellite places in other parts of the country.
Yeah.
So who knows? Sky's the limit.
That's awesome, man.
But to create, I'm crazy. I'm pinching myself that I'm here talking to you about this because the beginning was me sitting. I said this on other podcasts before, sitting in my shop like 6 years ago, and it was actually when Bitcoin tanked after the 2017 bull run. Went back
21,000,
or 20,000. It went down, I think, $3,000 or something.
$3,000 March 10th, 20.
I'm sitting in my shop on a Saturday, and I looked around and realized that I have these dusty old miners that the clients didn't want back. And instead of me throwing them away, I just took different models, put them on a shelf, cleaned them up, and then went on eBay and found more and started stacking. And I went online to look for a Bitcoin museum because I wanted to give them to a museum. And it's crickets. And here's a prime example of somebody that's in the Bitcoin community. I built a job out of thin air, literally. And then there's people on the team now growing with the museum with me.
That's awesome.
So shouts out to the team for the Bitcoin Mining Museum who helped me scale to this. But it's just mind-blowing that from one miner in my shop to a few miners to a dozen to 30 to now I'm standing here with you talking about a center like the Smithsonian of Bitcoin in Washington, D.C. under the Trump administration. It's freaking blowing my mind right now. I got that meme in my head.
Well, and I mean, when you're ready to start moving that stuff up there, I'm happy to come out, bring the team out, help get it set up. You have some hands to help with it too.
That'd
happy
be awesome.
to contribute.
Appreciate that.
It'd be an honor for us to help with it. Because it just seems so like in our lane to help roll machines into their final resting space where they're getting.
We're at 195. There's double the viewers now, and I'm gonna show this again. But this is what BitsBeTrippin is donating.
First GPU I'm mined with.
We don't have a GPU in the museum until now.
Look at that. It's got DVI, bros. Like it's old school, the connectors on it.
But this is, December 2010.
Yep.
And Carter was mining with this, the first GPU he ever mined with. So this is, get his autograph on it. And I'm thinking having a tablet next to it in the museum, and then people can watch your videos because you have videos with this.
Oh, yeah. We have. So before BitsBeTrippin came out, I'd record anytime I'd get new GPUs. And I actually have a video that's out on YouTube. It's my original YouTube channel. It's Alamar Ventru is the name of it. But if you look that up on YouTube, you will see. We were looking at one of the videos that were on there, and it was showing mining back then. It was one of the first days that you could mine in Windows, because before you just mine in Linux. But there was CG Miner and a few of the other miners back in the 2011, 2012 days that were ported over to where you could run it in a Windows environment. And I used to make videos on that and show, and this was before the channel. Like, it's like, it wasn't that December of 2013.
This is when you were in Satoshi, we're hanging out for lunch, right?
Yeah. Not. I'll start that rumor. But like I just didn't start in BBT in 2013. It was 2+ years, and Todd's here with me in the background. And, I would go into, we were on a contract together, and I'd go into work. And this was before the channel, right? This is like Todd and all them. And it was, it was 2011 at that time. Because by that time, started mining myself. Didn't really say anything to anybody in 2010. Was just doing it myself. And then as I started to understand more in early 2011, I was like, I should start talking to people about this. And I would come into work all the time. And I'd be like, man, you got to check this Bitcoin thing out. And at the time, like, people were like, shut up, like I'm tired of hearing about it. And I'm like, we should make an exchange, because I was responsible for a large development team. I was essentially the program delivery manager for this large contract, 120 plus people. I'd get up on, like every 2 days and like do these big meetings with leadership and stuff. And like, I would try to get them into it too. And they were like, dude, shut up about Bitcoin. This is 2011. So like, as more developers came online, we grew the team to like 100. At that time, it was like 80, and we grew it to like 120. I would keep saying it, to the point that my leadership came in one day and finally just said, no more talking about this. Like, you keep talking about it, and when you go into this lab, and they're all the developers are trying to work, and you just need to stop talking about it. So I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't, okay. So I stopped talking about it, but like, you
were live Trojan horse.
Yes, I was just like, you guys got to do this Bitcoin thing. We should make an exchange, and then like, this was like pre, that was starting to get into 2013 with you, Todd. But like, I was on that contract in 2011. So it was like, as we got into, finally making a move to do a little more than just the house stuff. Todd came to me and he was just like, we should build this out. Let's build a facility. Let's try to figure out something and just really lean into this more. And that's what really kind of just like meeting the few friends and folks that were part of it with me. And I was like, I think I'm going to start a YouTube channel on it. And a lot of everybody's like, I don't know. I don't want to be on, YouTube and we'll look like idiots. And I'm like, I'm not going to push anything on anybody. I'm just going to say, I'm going through this journey. Mm-hmm. Let me take you with me, and you help leverage the internet, because you guys will always tell me if I'm wrong in some way. So like, right or wrong,
good at that, by the way.
Everybody's good at that, right? So I was looking at it from a crowdsourcing standpoint, because you only had so much information available at that time. You were sharing it on Bitcoin Talk. Bitcoin Talk was kind of I'd call it the anchor of where things were mostly shared. At that time, you would have announcement posts if people were trying to spin up a shitcoin or something, or you would have like people linking to their configs. And that's really what I cared about, because it was really around proof of work. So we'd get these configs and try different things out. And just that community, I was like, what if we started making designs of like the way the rigs could hold up? So that was one of the first videos. If people look at our original videos, it was how to get them out of get the GPU miners out of the milk cartons. Because everybody, the milk carton holders, like you'd see some old school Bitcoin miners, and they were in this.
I've seen that.
They'd have like a little just a holder holding the GPU up with a GPU riser. And I was like, we got to get them out of these. This sucks. You can't get any airflow through here. So that was one of the very first videos, was how to build that kind of
GPU
cases, right? And we
remember
literally
those blue ones. I think Gerald Wilka, OG from 2012, he was making them in North Carolina.
Oh yeah, so they
were like the color of your shirt.
Yeah, those were more like kind of server style cases, if I remember correctly. These ones were just like big open air, just single, 1x cases. I don't know if Todd's going for one or not. We have him in the back. He's going for one. He's going to grab one. You guys are going to see one of the old school live
show and tell over here.
Yeah, because we don't get rid of a lot of stuff. So we have a lot of legacy equipment.
There's no point in this seeing in the attic, sitting in the attic somewhere, when we can educate people on it.
Yeah, and at that time we were trying to record what we were doing, try to see what would work. And I actually have some pretty funny outtake videos, like early in like November of 13 of like just me standing in front of a camera and feeling super uncomfortable. And at the end of the day, I was just like, I'm just trying to tell people what I'm doing. Like,
do you remember your first payout?
My first what? Payout?
First payout?
Yes.
Since this was your first
yeah,
miner?
Yeah. So I remember that I started it that night, got it functionally working. Didn't know if it was how it would look in the wallet, because at that time, the wallet essentially was your miner. So you essentially mined, like you would set up the Bitcoin wallet, you'd have a Bitcoin wallet.dat, and you would mine locally to that wallet, single card. There was no multi-cards at that time. There was no any concept of threading. You could do CPU, GPU mining.
So this was before mining pools came out. You were still
before
solo
mining
mining.
Pools. Yeah, you would just solo mine to your wallet.
And did you do like what, a block a day off of this, or?
At that time, it was more than one block a day. At that time, it was multiple blocks. I think on that wallet at that time probably mined over 1,000 Bitcoin, and just for that one at that moment in time.
And back then, just for those of you that are new to Bitcoin, one block was 50 Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, yeah.
So easily 150 to 200 Bitcoin a day.
Yeah, that you would get from that. So like these were the kind of, like this was the more regular design. You know, we started painting them and stuff. But that was kind of like how you would do them. You know, you'd put a board under this, and then you'd have a motherboard, and then the GPUs would set. And then this was kind of more of a stack design for smaller cards. But, you know, like we started creating, and we painted them to make them look cool. But yeah, it was, you know, it was just how to get people into it at that moment in time, right? It was just like, and mind you, after I started making the channel, like you were mining way less because you were pool mining in 2013, and FPGAs had already proliferated pretty heavy,
which was just a short period.
It was
like
a short
6
period,
months, give or take. And
then you had just a handful of small. KNC hadn't came out with the Titan yet, but they had a different miner, and then you had really jalapeno, Monarch.
I think KNC had the Neptune.
Yeah, the Neptune, that was it.
Neptune.
Yeah, Titan was the script.
Yeah,
script miner. But yeah, and then that was kind of the first thing. You had grid seeds.
I did it again. Okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
Elevator.
The control panel. We were going back down.
Elevator up.
Yeah. And so yeah, I mean, it's just. I'm really glad we have video of like most of all this, because you start looking at the times and dates and stuff of it, and you're just like,
this historical timestamps.
Yeah, it's
awesome.
Snapshots and times. But yeah, my dudes, we could sit there and vent about all this all day long, talk about this. I hope this has been good. I mean, we have 208 people.
That's awesome.
Right now,
appreciate
so
y'all
pretty good
spending
exposure.
Time on a Thursday to hang out with us and
yeah,
learning about some history. And again,
I could talk forever about this. Yeah.
For all you OGs out there, large companies, medium-sized companies, anybody that wants to contribute, it's a tax exemption. Don't give your money to the IRS. Give it to us, and it'll be positive optics for your company to give back to the community.
There you go.
So, and educate the future and politicians, which is just in return going to help you guys back.
Yeah.
Everybody in the space.
It's a good effort, my dude. Well, I was good. I think we're TheCoinDad in the house, my dudes. This is good stuff.
To steakhouse now or what?
We did bring him some local good barbecue. Yeah, we'll figure out what's dinner tonight, and yeah, get to it. All right, my dudes. It was fun. It was real. It was real fun. 210 folks. We're signing off. We'll catch you guys on the next one. We got to do this again at some point.
Time for an old fashioned, and then we'll revisit this. Maybe after this thing is opened up,
we'll bring the mobile.
Maybe you come out when we have the ribbon cut, the orange ribbon cutting ceremony.
Hey, I'm there.
And,
add me at
blast that live.
Yeah, we'll get it. We'll set up the mobile setup.
All right,
we're in. All right, my dudes.
Thanks, guys.